Welcome, or something, I don't know. Today, we are going to be covering Update 8, which is coming out tomorrow as of this stream, probably as of this video as well. In addition, there's a DLC slotted to release the same time. I want to watch the teaser and cover it in depth with you. This is the Update 8 highlights video from Planet Coaster 2's YouTube channel, which I would suggest you follow so that you can keep in the loop when these things are happening. We're just going to get into it. I'm going to talk about some of the aspects one by one as I see they're useful to discuss.
Heyo everyone, let's kick off the second year of Planet Coaster 2 content with another free update in December. Do you want to say it this time, Adam?
Let's dive into the details.
Animated scenery is now scalable. Simply place down your favorite animated pieces from the base game or a DLC pack and use the scale tool the same way you would with a static scenery piece.
Let's cover this real quick because this is insane. If this is in fact just animated elements, it might be a little disappointing to me, but if it includes all animated elements, like for instance, things that I would find in certain tabs, which are coaster skin designs, basically. If you can scale those up finally, I would love this. Let me get a couple examples for you here so you can see what I'm talking about. So over here, we've got the Kraken monster. Obviously, there's no scale feature here, but here also, we've got like strange little items like submarine propellers, which also cannot be scaled up or down. And for the purposes of making roller coaster skins, it would be really, really nice if you could scale these. This is probably more exciting than you think it is, especially for the purposes of making ride skins. Basically half of my amount of time spent in the game at this point. It takes a while, but it's really fulfilling.
Moving on, we have another new moving platform for you. The Spring moving platform can be attached to the usual surfaces, including rides, and will react to the momentum of whatever it's attached to with a fun, bouncy effect.
That's interesting. I've not made much use of these moving platforms besides using them as an anchor for rotational and mirroring symmetry. I imagine the community is really excited about this because it looks like you have attached from this POV a moving platform to another moving platform, which is a thing you can do apparently. I just haven't really experimented with it much. Lots of creators have gotten super creative with how they make use of this in their ride skins and blueprints. And it looks like they're going to talk about blueprints in this video coming up next in just a second.
It's blueprint time. We heard you ask for more blueprints and we're happy to deliver. A selection of blueprints that featured in the original Planet Coaster themes will be returning in Planet Coaster 2. Alongside these returning blueprints, we've added a range of new options for some of our Planet Coaster 2 flat rides that are sure to wow your guests.
So all of this is really cool. I don't really have any notes here, except that some of the base game blueprints already have clipping, which was very concerning to me, but that's just me because I tend to overanalyze everything. This will make it easier for people just getting into the game to have an enjoyable experience. And I did notice a significant lack of Western buildings when I first started playing a couple months ago. And I'm glad that they're finally remedying that. Except now I have a couple that I have made myself and feel almost better about. Better late than never, I guess. I can always pop these into densely packed areas if ever I want to do a dense Western themed area. Also, more aquatic stuff. There's so much aquatic as far as blueprints are concerned.
Let's talk roller coasters. For owners of the Sorcery Pack, we're excited to share with you a magical free edition. A return variant of the Vector Child Coaster is now available. Using this variant, you can create an open-ended twisting and turning track layout before it reaches the end, allowing your guests to then experience it all again, but this time, backwards. Also for Sorcery Pack owners, we've added a whole dual direction piece for Altimax's LSM Raid Coaster and Bike and Sidecar. With this piece, your train can pause for that moment of suspense before a launch, but still come back through the track in both directions to keep momentum. Oh, and the Raid Coaster can now use a chain lift.
Just coaster-related adjustments related to the Sorcery DLC. The Child Coaster is very interesting because it is, at present, if you were to build it in a new park, the cheapest coaster you can afford. So the fact that you can do fancy things like this with it means that you'll effectively be doubling the amount of excitement you could potentially get on the ride, while like basically not having to build double what it would normally be. That's a long way of saying that this coaster could effectively be like twice as efficient now than it used to be, as far as it comes to making your guests happy and the excitement fear nausea ratios. As far as the dual direction piece, I'm not entirely sure how this works out in practice because I haven't really toyed around with it, but I know a lot of people have been wanting this. This will be pretty exciting for people that want whatever this is.
The HPC steel rails and the HPC steel topped coasters are getting an LSM track for a smooth, fast launch option.
That's huge. Goodness. Yes, please. This is an excellent change because these are already really high intensity, high octane types of rides. I don't know if this is an element that happens in real life. Man, does it feel like it's going to be exciting when it finally gets here. Another issue that I have with the game system is that these types of roller coasters can do half loops, but you cannot by default adjust the track so that it can go into a loop, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I wish they would remedy that at some point, but you know, I'll take what I can get a little at a time.
Dark Kinetics looping coasters are getting dual spine tracks, and the Movement Construction Mine Train is getting a plankless track.
Oh, interesting. Just some aesthetics. Cool.
Next up, some improvements to the management and economy systems, starting with rides. We've updated ticket price calculations and tweaked the wear rates of rides and utilities.
Okay, they've tweaked the wear rates of rides and utilities, which is generators and coasters and rides.
Serving these will now come with a fee
Servicing them comes with a fee. Is that only when they're broken down?
based on the cost of repairing them to 80%.
Based on the cost of repairing them to 80%. Okay. I have never had a ride break down, like, seriously in my parks before. I mean, I may have been very stupid once or twice, but even then, it's not much of a setback because by the time you get around to repairing the ride, you can afford to refurbish it. So I don't really know what they mean by this.
Add more of a challenge to the management of your park economy and upkeep.
That could potentially be a very unpopular change, actually, because I know people are there to build and have fun, and in franchise mode or similar, it would affect their enjoyment if it gets too out of hand. And this is something that enough people are loudly complaining about that I suppose Frontier may be listening. It's not necessarily my opinion. I think the game's way too easy. I couldn't care less about the management aspect, to be honest. It's way too easy to make money infinitely, especially with changing ride sequencing. That's my opinion, though.
You'll be able to keep track of the maintenance decay using this updated information panel. And we've added a ticket price breakdown panel for you.
Oh, goodness. Wow. Okay. That is the statistic I've been missing this whole time. And now it makes sense why in certain parks a ticket price will be higher than another park. Now, full disclosure, I did all of my testing for the purposes of my spreadsheet in the same park. So this would explain why there's some fluctuation outside of that, which is really interesting. So we get the breakdown. The ride experience itself is $14.56. You get the scenery bonus. Reputation, that's how long it's been around for. At this present moment, this ride would be considered, I think, established. Game difficulty multiplier. I think this affects the ticket price depending on how difficult the game is. So the more difficult the game is, the less of a multiplier you'll get. Park ticket multiplier, this is based on whether or not your park entry is free or not. And then premium is 1.25, I guess, which is good to know. And then, of course, ticket price at the end is just what it ends up being. Guest usage last hour. I'm going to hazard a guess and say this is how many guests use it, what the uptime is, how many empty seats there are in the last hour of gameplay. Notably, the priority pass queue seems to be working in this video, so that makes me hopeful because priority queue is really broken at the moment.
Scenery prestige has been adjusted. We're decreasing the impact of each individual scenery piece, but upping its effective radius.
Okay, this is really interesting, and it seems like my next resource is going to be about how much effective scenery points are given. This will probably break many blueprints that are already on the workshop. So this seems a little concerning if it's going to work out exactly this way.
Balanced impact on rides.
Have a balanced impact on rides. Okay, buddy. So if you don't already know, certain pieces give a significantly different scenery score compared to others. If you see here, the scenery score here is 1800, which is doing pretty good. That's about half of one $500 boulder for reference, because boulders are insane for some reason. And this tree is 150. Are you seeing the disconnect? In order to get one Kraken monster out of all this, 12 acacia trees equals the same scenery score as one Kraken monster, which mind you, you'll be able to downscale in the next update.
On to further changes to utility.
It's nice that they have all this in the menu now.
Where relevant, you will now see power and water information for a
This.
building or facility in the browser. We've also improved the water flow heat map.
Yes, please. This is so much better looking than it currently is in game, which is basically just blue and then lighter blue and then like, I don't know, cyan color when it's not actually like in good condition. It'll go like a pale red if it's not getting anything.
Improvement to guest behaviors will see them leave a pool to satisfy a pressing need.
This is important. Pools are really bad if you want to optimize a park. And this is part of the reason. If guests stay in a pool for too long, they'll start to complain, and that'll affect your overall rating at the bottom of the screen. You can see right down here, it's a 1.8. That would probably be much lower if the whole park was centered around this. And guests that are hungry and only wait until the last moment to go find something will probably end up crowding the stalls. And crowded stalls lead to more people being hungry for longer periods of time. And if those needs don't get met, the guests will end up unhappy. And although you can remedy this by just placing more food stalls, not exactly ideal in any circumstance, so this is actually a really welcome change.
Meanwhile, you'll see fewer hungry or thirsty guests waiting in queues.
Oh, interesting. They lowered the effect that hunger and thirst have on guests while they're in queue, is what I'm hearing. This is important for a couple reasons. If you're operating the way you probably used to, you'd like to put like a food or a drink shop like right at the exit of a ride, because guests that are coming off the ride will likely be hungry or thirsty. And this just doesn't seem to be the case much longer, or at least there's not as much of a case for it, because the wording makes it sound like they'll still get hungry and thirsty. They won't necessarily have it to the same degree as before. I would guess this is around an 80% reduction, but I don't know for sure. It'll be interesting to see this in practice.
In pools and on rides.
Oh, so this isn't just limited. We kind of figured out the part about in pools, but that's really important as well. Now the only time that guests are going to be getting hungry or thirsty at a regular level is if they're walking around the park. This will drive food and drink sales down for sure, unless they've balanced the numbers so that guests will get more hungry or thirsty the more they walk around. I'll need some time to process this.
Update 8 brings improvements to the weather system in Planet Coaster 2. Not only are we introducing new weather types, we're also making the system clearer to understand and changing how your guests react to it.
This is interesting. I just made a video about how rain and sun affect guests. Maybe this is adjusted in some way and my video is obsolete.
Thunderstorms are here, and they bring with them the potential to put your crisis management skills to the test. Be prepared for lightning strikes during a storm. These strikes can cause utilities or rides to break down if hit, and this will definitely make your guests panic if they were riding it at the time. So consider closing your rides during a thunderstorm and make sure you have mechanics ready to jump into action.
Random breakdowns during thunderstorms is basically an RNG foil for franchise mode. You either hope for it or you don't. The current franchise is focused on coaster ridership, and if a thunderstorm hits and guests want to go on a coaster and it breaks down, that's not going to end up very well. Usually in theme parks, thunderstorms cause the entire park to basically shut down in this way, but we haven't had thunder in Planet Coaster before. This will be interesting. I certainly hope these aren't frequent. And going on the positive side, I think this is a really interesting and unique challenge. How these cause breakdowns, I'm not sure, but overall, if you have enough mechanics to keep up with the servicing of your park, then you shouldn't be having any problems anyway.
Guests will look to avoid getting wet, refusing to use pools, flumes, or wet benches, and instead looking to find rides that have sheltered queues.
The fact that covered benches are now important is really, really neat, actually, for the purposes of making an aesthetic park. And it kind of forces you to, if you're doing these things in campaign maps, which have tons of rain. I think the one that comes to mind is Paradise Lost, and I think it's like everybody's least favorite. This would actually incentivize you to make cool looking seating areas. Now there's a mechanic behind it.
When a guest is wet, their dryness need deteriorates over time.
Correct. That is a thing that exists.
When the need falls into the red zone, your guests will become uncomfortable and need to get dry.
Okay, so we already know these things. They're just reminding people that are watching, if they're too scared of like the new weather effects, hey, these mechanics exist. The fact that they need to put this into a video and not into the tutorial is kind of telling that the tutorial is not very good.
Snow is also coming in Update 8. While this new weather type brings a distinct look to your park, it also comes with management challenges for you to overcome. Pools will freeze over in extreme cold temperatures unless you keep them heated with the new pool heaters.
This is interesting. You can basically make hot tubs now. I mean, besides the weather effects. We'll talk more about that. I'm gonna let him finish his thought.
And as the temperature of a pool drops, your guest will vacate it. Guests now have a new need: warmth. As you'd expect with snow, the temperature around your park will drop, causing your guests to really feel the cold and look for warmer areas. Make sure to use the new heaters throughout your park and offer hot food and drinks to allow your guests to recover.
Oh, interesting. Hot food and drinks. Warmth as a new concept. It's going to be very interesting to see how it works out in practice. Heat lamps and other similar buildings will probably be important for parks that get snow. I don't know if this will be every park, but this is likely leading up to the fact that we're getting the whole snow theme.
We've also tweaked Sunburn. You will now be able to track a guest's needs for sun cream on the needs panel, and we've made a change to how sun cream itself works to complement it. Sun cream is now a consumable item that will last a set amount of time. Once the guest has used up all that sun cream, they'll need to buy more if staying in the park.
So this is no longer an end-all be-all item. Like, once you have sun cream, you cannot burn, which means that having more guest services around will actually be quite helpful, as it is a consumable.
To help you navigate these weather improvements, we've added a temperature indicator to the bottom of the screen.
I believe you could already see this if you went to the bottom right corner where it says weather, but it's nice that it's constantly featured now because it's more of an important statistic that you should pay attention to.
As well as heat maps to keep track of temperature, dryness, and sun cream throughout your park.
These will all be very helpful. I like heat maps a lot. They give me a general idea of what's going on in my park without having to look at a percentage screen. And I think it's more intuitive this way to understand what the needs are in your park without having to pull up basically a spreadsheet of what's going on. What percentage of guests are uncomfortable, what percentage are hungry, what percentage are thirsty, etc. However, I would obviously love those formats because that's the way my brain works. This is a good secondary, and I think it's natural for the game to feel this through heat maps. Before he says anything, we'll get our first look here. These look like trees that already existed in the game, at least most of them. This is a snowy map. This is what I've been looking forward to for a while.
All this snow, Rich, it's beginning to look
Nice. Don't leave the tab up while you're featuring the new snow area, please.
The festive scenery theme is returning from the original Planet Coaster with Update 8.
And this is what I already knew about. I didn't actually watch this video beforehand, but I wanted to know for sure how everything was going to look. I knew the festive theme was coming back. I knew that the snow theme was coming back. I wasn't sure in what form. So it looks like we might be getting blankets of snow back too, which is awesome. That was my favorite pack. My longest running project, which never got finished, from Plinko 1.
Get your guests in the holiday spirit as they journey through a winter wonderland of festive cheer. This free theme comes with over 200 pieces and a selection of blueprints for you to build with. We can't wait to see your creations.
That's about it. Gosh, this at night looks so beautiful. I think the lighting engine for Planet Coaster 2 really complements this theme now. 4th of December, that is tomorrow. Exciting stuff, some of which I'll have to see how it pans out. We're gonna cover some of the things coming in the new Toy Box DLC. First off, I think these are all pieces you will be able to see in-game, potentially. I've talked to some streamers, and they are excited, or maybe didn't even know about the stoplights beforehand, and now that they do, they're really interested, because having these stoplights around in their city related parks, that just hits right. Also, police cars, spaceships, it looks like. Although these are little toys, you can decorate them up a little bit better and then add them to a moving platform or a set of moving platforms to make a really cool scene out of it. This is loaded with items. Obviously, we have new shapes, which look like they may be interesting to work with. You got little screws, screw-looking pieces, caps. We've got a parachute ride off in the corner here. This suspended ride looks really cool. Look at all that we have here. This is the stoplight I was talking about earlier. We've got like a little rotary phone dial. Not quite sure what purpose it serves here. We've got a little toy helicopter hanging off the platform for this suspended ride. And we've got a train of cars coming over here. A little Chief Beef, so that tells me maybe they have some extra skins added in this DLC, which is awesome. We need more shop skins desperately instead of just plain Co ones. This ride looks really cool. It looks like a version of the Child Coaster, which might be downscaled. And if you notice, the piece that's leading up to it is very flat, so maybe it has partial grid segments, not unlike the Wild Mouse Coaster. Also, it looks like new stickers to be put everywhere. These are really wholesome. It would be really silly, but you could add these in with graffiti-esque areas, and they probably wouldn't look so out of place. Wave Rider. This is the biggest hype I have for the DLC. It's just the perfect thing to add in to your already existing water park. I don't know what it constitutes as. I think it's a ride that you can put in a water park and guests will have to ride it only they're wearing their swimsuit when they go. I don't know how long it is because it's only a 1 capacity max. If you theme it to 100% scenery, then I feel like if you get it to that point, you should be able to charge out the wazoo for it. This is not going to be like water slides where one guest can go down and then 3 seconds later another one can go. The capacity of this is probably going to be extremely low, and so same with the throughput if it's just one guest at a time. So it'll be interesting to see how that's all balanced out. This could be a huge moneymaker in the sense that it is funneling your guests towards rides with much bigger throughput, and it's the same reason I highly regard Spiral Slide as one of the best flat rides in the game. Okay, this is an interesting looking ride. It seems very intense. It's like a version of 360 Power that also inverts the chairs. I don't know how to feel about this one yet, but it seems like another vomiter, so I'll likely not see a whole lot of use for it. A new entertainer type, kind of modeled after Buzz Lightyear, I think, and it's not really a hidden thought. But this park overall is really pretty, really interesting. So those are my thoughts. Interested to see what will happen here. But I only hope that the management aspects haven't been altered too much, because the game is in a state right now where it is too easy. So making it more challenging could probably put off some people. They're trying to make Planet Coaster 2 a great management simulator. In its present state, it really isn't. There's not much more to it than know what to do the thing, earn money, do more of the same thing. What Planet Coaster 2 is a great sandbox game, and that's why most people come through here to play the game as such. They build, they chill, that's what they do. The effects of the rides are more kind of an aside from the main point that they play the game. Anyway, I'm gonna delete all these pieces and we